What's up guys, it's Sean and today we're going to check out Legasi in Kampong Bharu, Kuala Lumpur. Let's go! This is a very exciting project today because this is somewhat that kampung in a city concept where in a stone throw away we will reach Jalan Sultan Ismail, KLCC, prominent KL office addresses, but within the surrounding you can still see rumah kampung, wooden house, settlements and etc. that is full of heritage and history. Also in this episode there will be a new collaboration with time as I'm trying to add another metric of measurement to buildings, especially if you're looking to stay or rent. So next to water and electricity, internet becomes one of the most important things for home, and I just wish to add that convenience when you're considering a place to live or rent. So this scene is pretty peculiar where you have ultra-modernism infrastructures here, iconic towers opposite, but at the same side you will have very conventional bungalows and hawker stalls at the side, right? So this demonstrates the importance of town planning whenever you are investing in a particular property, to make sure that yes, you can live in a very advanced building altogether, but your neighbors you have no jurisdiction over. Very important. But now this is a mixed development on a leasehold land. Amount of units is 692 per block. It seems okay. Coming from the main road, this will be the main entrance, right, which is a little bit weird, somewhat integrating different blocks together. Here you have the single story wooden house, but then boom, super high rise, and at the far end you get to see KLCC already. It's that close. So looking at the floor plans, we roughly calculated it's around 20 units. It's served by 2 lifts, 1 emergency lift and 1 stretcher lift here. So this one you can fit in the bed if you need to. Then in this same corridor you can access to the other one as well. So just in case somewhat breakdown here, the residents get to choose to use this side as well. But that connects to another block. Somewhat this corridor reminds me of a hospital. Anyway, this lift lobby is really spacious and it's full tiled up. That's nice. And this will be the Refuge Chamber. It's huge, it comes with recycled bins, it's ventilated. There's another room here. Right, so it's a double door design. And this reflects the problem in coordination between trades. The M&E elements crash into the wall, and just to make things workable, this is the end outcome. Then as we are walking across the corridor, this is a very long corridor and there's a lot of renovation work being done as this has just been handed over. The corridor width is 1.95, height is 2.7 meters. Rather spacious, and it's one of those rare occasions where we have a reflective surface for corridor, as well as glossy tiles along with the skirtings. This will be the foyer, and let's go check out the unit. Hey guys, so now we're in the unit, and in order to run this collaboration, right, we got somebody from Time, and we're going to run some speed tests because maximum they are going to be having 1 gig per second in terms of transfer. Well, that also depends on whether is it upload or download. And this is Type B, 950 square feet, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom unit. And the door clearance just now you can see is around 1 meter. And in one glance you can already see that this is the dining, this is the living. That will be the corridors to all 3 bedrooms and the bathrooms. This will be the kitchen space. And this unit is a fully furnished version. The unit that we'll get directly from the developer is apparently empty. So the width from wall to wall for the kitchen is 2.6 meters. Therefore you can nicely accommodate a fridge, a 2-burner, cook and hob with top and bottom kitchen cabinets. On the opposite, you also have this little corner here where I think you can also furnish it up if you want to, because this is a unit meant for renting out, meant for ROI. They have the 5 feet wall tiles. There is somewhat your backsplash for your kitchen as well. This will be the window panels to the yard space. And there's this huge ventilator that's new, and this will be connecting to the yard space. So the yard space is directly connected to the air well, and that's the main debate. Like new layouts, right, are trying to get away from this kind of air wells because the experience is just not very good. Primarily, the main reason to have an air well is to allow toilets in the unit to be natural ventilated, and it's to also somewhat let the corridor have better ventilation and lighting. But it's also a place to locate all the compressors of the air cons. Therefore, if this building is fully occupied, right, imagine all gazillion numbers of compressors all switched on together. This space is just going to be so hot. And in this yard space, then this will be the location for your washing machine. So you have that brick wall and metal handrail along with tile floorings and skirting. So that's okay. And I like that they added on this piece as the transition space, just that I wish that the lines could be aligned lah. And moving across this dining hall, this is a 2.7 meters wall to wall width, and the ceiling height is 3 meters. And you'll notice the drop for the aircon unit right at the entrance. So as we are reaching episode 200 in terms of property reviews, we figured out that we need to add a little bit more metrics, a little bit more depth to the review itself. We started off with the selling price and the rental if possible. Then we also look at the area for properties as well. We look at the corridor width and length. We started adding dimensions into the reviews. Then we go into finishings, materials. And it was an episode where I met several audiences. They told me that this series has somewhat became a guide for them to choose a house they want to stay in. So a very important aspect for that would then be livability, where's the convenience of food, traveling, and etc. And in this current junction of time, this is water and electric, we really need the internet. With the assistance of the team at time, whenever we visit a ready built building, we will be able to determine the availability of internet connection. So that's just adding another level of convenience just in case a person who is coming over to Malaysia and they determine where they want to rent, right? Somewhat it's just easier for them to make decision on where to stay lah. And currently their team is running some campaigns. I'll just put the link down below because they are providing one of the highest speed, and their price per Mbps is one of the most affordable ones lah. So for more details, just check out the link down below. And across the living space, we will have the balcony. And the view is rather interesting. This is where we can witness, right, a clear demarcation and function of town planning. You can see this side is heavily surrounded by all high-rises. You can see just how close those buildings are. We visited one of those before. And immediately next to that, you will have the cemetery, and you have the highways there cutting across Jalan Sultan Ismail, and that connects to Pavilion and all. But on this side, you will see that it's still a state of kampung, hence the name Kampong Bharu. And what you can see is the neighboring lot of affordable homes. And it's pretty obvious here, you can see that design pathways for entrance. Whenever people just pass by this tunnel of trees into Kampong Bharu, you will feel very nice from a pedestrian point of view, but when you look from afar, then you can see that you still have wooden houses. And it's very, very interesting where you have super infrastructures, super high-dense offices, luxury homes, and etc. And a street away, you will still have kampong houses. So the balcony is around 800 mm, where you have a concrete curb connecting to steel and glass handrails, and you have spray paints at the wall. So if we look into the property portals, the selling price for this unit is pretty drastic. The price ranges from 600,000 to $1 million. Well, that illustrates the different levels that you are choosing to buy. And for this unit itself, the rental price is going to be around 2,009 per month. And moving on into the room, you have the porcelain tiles, and this will be the corridor connecting to the 3 bedrooms. First of all, we have the smallest bedroom here. There's a small box up at the end of the ceiling, and it will be connecting to the yard space itself. Well, at least there's still some window for ventilation purposes. So the dimension of the room is 2.5 by 2.4 meters, and there will be no air cons yet, so you will have a plug point there just in case you need to connect. But there's one thing I want to highlight would be the chamfering from the skirtings to the wall. So if you can see, these are the skirtings, but the chamfering work from the skirting to the wall itself is just very uneven. why they decide to chamfer anyway. Also some meticulous things, at least I expect the lines of the tiles to be aligned, and that's not very difficult to do. In comparison to the previous one, this room then feels very spacious. When you can fit in a queen size bed, you have that extensive window panels. And I like that a lot of those panels can be opened. And after putting in the queen size bed, you still have space for circulation across the bed. And this will be the wardrobe space, and that will be the aircon that comes along with the developer's unit. And because of this wall and this door frame is too close, right? The joint then becomes super weird. Where you can see it's just very difficult to terminate a joint like this, especially when you want super hard details like chamfering. They end up with end products like this, and this is what you get if you have this kind of direct connection from the door frame to the wall. The termination will then be like that. Anyway, this is 1.2 meters and they somewhat sunken in the wall, and this can be a cabinet space if you want to use it. Then this will be the shared bathroom. So it's full height wall tiles, no shower screen, and the basin and WC. This is the Misa, I also don't even know how to pronounce it. And again with the issue of the termination along with the lines of the tiles lah. The windows are then connected to the air well itself, and again you can see the quality of terminations. Moving on, this will be the principal bedroom. So the wall-to-wall width is 2.55. I think it's still okay because after you put in a queen size bed, you still have around 500 to 600 mm to walk around, and comfortably you can allocate bedside tables at the side. You have this huge window that will become your source of ventilation, light and view. Because the surrounding is somewhat all developed, the view is unblocked, very nice. And behind this door will be the principal bathroom. So the toilet is pretty similar, full height wall tiles, just that the texture of the floor is a little bit different. And the specs for the basin and WC, I don't even know how to pronounce the name. It's Caravaggio and Potex. And I think that's all for the unit. It's a very standard one. But in 950 square feet, they are able to squeeze in 3 bedrooms. And from an investment point of view, that's very, very good. And you rent all these rooms out individually, I think the return can be pretty solid as well. But the ROI depends on what will be your entry price. Also, this project illustrates the importance of understanding the height of your unit. Because right next to your building, you have this existing project, right? And anything within that, then your views are actually blocked. But if your unit is higher than the roof level for that building, suddenly you have access to this unblocked view, and that sometimes will fetch a better premium in that sense. So now we are at level 8, and this seems to be the connection level with the next block as well. Here you have the barbecue pits along with the basins in that open air. Yes, you have the garden and the breeze is okay because it's unblocked. At the background you can see that neighboring block of apartments that you will need to take note. That's why before investing, it's best that you know the height of this building, and as long as you are higher than that level, then you will get to enjoy the unblocked view of the KL skyline. Then here you get to enjoy that walk, right? You have some shrubs, some walkway that is built using pebble wash, and some Bushida trees giving you some coverage. Then next to the garden there will be a playground area. Then you have this massive corridor. Here you have a waiting and sitting area. Then coming up from there, you need to go through the stairs. How I wish these can be OKU friendly. And this you will be reaching to the swimming pool at the far end. This height seems rather dangerous. Like the depth of this is just not friendly. Then when you have a walkway like this, you need to build another platform for this just to put in the bollards. And you already start to observe cracks and the lack of feelings of earth. Then you can also see the incomplete levelings here, right? That is not as pleasant. I don't understand this detail as well. Why do you need this? Where you can just nicely sit on this concrete slab. But all those detailings, right, does not take away the majestic feel of the distance away from KLCC. Like within walking distance, right, you can somewhat access that bridge at the far end, and then you can just walk towards KLCC area. It's really close, just that you need to walk through a cemetery after passing through that ugly highway lah. Then at the end, you will have a swimming pool here. And that's all for the unit. Now let's check out around the site, because within walking distance here, right, yes, you are somewhat in that settlement situation where you have people's house right next to your high-rise. Kind of weird, but that also means a lot of convenience where you have a lot of roadside stalls. And let's go grab something to eat first. Okay guys, so now we are back in the office, and I actually forgot to close the episode after that meal of ikan bakar and pisang goreng and syrup bandung. Anyway, it's now time for 3 and 3, and the 3 things that I really like. Number 1, definitely the location. In specific, it would be the proximity to KL City Centre. Within a road away, you get to connect to Jalan Raja Laut, Jalan Sultan Ismail, Jalan Ambang, and those are the addresses that are just packed with office buildings. That means job opportunities. It's so close to the extent that you can actually walk past the Ackley Highway via the pedestrian bridge and access Public Bank building, which is directly opposite KLCC already. So that's really good. Then the second thing would be the value for money. For this exact same piece, let's say if you were to take the lowest price listing in the market, let's say it's 700,000 for that 950 square feet. It's around 700 per square feet, and you compare that to Star Residence, for example, or any units along Jalan Sultan Ismail, it's really value for money. And that gives a lot of opportunity for cash flow purposes, just because your entry price is really low. And the last thing I really like would be the convenience around the location, because at the surrounding, this is an established address altogether where you have the schools, you have the malls, you have the hospitals. So if you were to move in, you can immediately leave. But one of the 3 main things that I don't like would be that local flavor, like the architectural language that they are using, Islamic facade design, in order to reflect the heritage of the site, right? Yeah, I can totally get it. People need to understand that that does not reflect to the user and the restriction of the ownership to the building. Yes, it's still a leasehold property, it's a mixed development, therefore it's a commercial title, but there's no restriction on non-Bumis buying the building. Unfortunately for the impression of the site, because you are in Kampong Bharu, which is a settlement for our Malay friends, therefore everything within the proximities are all catered to them in terms of food, in terms of commercial activities, in terms of facilities, and etc. So that impression, right, will somewhat be a hurdle, I think, in the future for the resale market of the unit. And following close to that will be the immediate site condition. Like on one side you have the cemetery, on the other side you have the social housing, then on another side you will have this rumah kampung, still very conventional wooden houses. Then you will have the hawker centers at the roadside. That just demonstrates the lack of town planning, and with such settlements, the problem is always the infrastructure. Like the road width is only going to be like that, it's going to be so limited, and with the lack of enforcement, the entire road is going to be just parked full with cars. There's no remedy to the traffic congestion because there were no planning to begin with. And last of all would be certain execution in design and construction that I find very weird. Number 1 would be the entrance to the residence block. That's really weird. Once you go in, it's directly the lift lobby, and the security guard house is actually located outside. Then this building has just been handed over, therefore there's a lot of defects still to be rectified. But what we can see is some poor coordination between trades, M&E, and structural and architecture. Those things could be easily resolved if communication was done before construction. Then in the unit itself, I don't understand the details of the chamfer between the skirtings and the wall. That created a lot of work, but then it's not executed well, therefore the inconsistency of that. And I suspect it may be due to the rush as we went through lockdown. There weren't any extra time to really rectify all the details, therefore everything was just like jumpa, just finish it, at least can hand over to the owner first. But as long as the unit is still under defect liability period, the owner still has the right to ask the developer to come and rectify the unit lah. And I think that's all for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and shout out to Time as well for helping out with my ambition in providing more value to you guys, to ensure you guys whether this building comes with internet or not, as it's very important, especially if you are a tenant or an owner that is going to buy this existing building. So I guess that's all for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and if you really like this episode, like it, share it, and even subscribe for more information like this. Until next time, this is Sean Tan. Ciao.